Ahoy, pirates! Today we're going to do 2.1, which is all about multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions is actually easier than adding or subtracting fractions. Way easier. So, by the time you get to the end of this video, you will be an expert at multiplying fractions. We're going to start with this story problem just to give you an idea of how multiplying fractions works. So, imagine it says work with a partner, but it's COVID, so you'll just be working by yourself. A bottle of water is half full, the optimist says. So here we have this bottle of water, and half of it is full of water. You drink 2/3 of the water. Does this stop recording? What's going on here? Close that out. Okay. You drink 2/3 of this water. So you drink 2/3 of this half. How much of the whole bottle did you drink? That's an example of multiplying fractions. So, one way to do this is with a visual picture model. So you can actually draw something that represents a bottle, fill up half of it by shading it in or coloring it or whatever you want to do. And then we're going to fill in 2/3 of that. So 2/3 of that would be about here. Okay, so for the entire bottle, this amount, which is 2/3 of a half, ends up being 1/3 of the whole bottle. Okay, and you're going to find out in this video why 1/2 times 2/3 gives you 1/3. Okay, because that's the actual answer here. So now I still have the answer up from the first time I tried to do this video. Let's refresh that. Pretend like you didn't see any of that. Perfect. All right, so when you multiply fractions, you're doing 1/5 times 1/3. It's super easy. You just multiply straight across. So this numerator is 1. This numerator is 1. You multiply the numerators. 1 times 1, that's 1. And you multiply the denominators. 5 times 3, 15. Your answer is 1/15, 1 over 15. That's it. Multiplying's easy. Nice. All right. It does get a little tougher. So example 2, we're going to do 8/9 times 3/4. So a good thing to do is estimate. So 8/9 is about 1. So our answer should be about 1 times 3/4. So our answer should be a little less than 3/4 when we're done. So it's good to estimate before you multiply. So now I could do 8 times 3 is 24, and 9 times 4 is 36. So I could say it's 24 over 36. Here's where multiplying fractions is different than adding or subtracting. So when you multiply, a lot of times you'll have to simplify big numbers. So here's a shortcut. So instead of saying 24 over 36 and having to simplify it, you can simplify it right from here. So because you're experts at greatest common factor from chapter 1, you know that 8 and 4 have a greatest common factor of 4. So I can divide each of those out by 4. Okay, and 3 and 9 have a greatest common factor of 3. So I could cancel out a 3 from each of these. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so I cross those out and I put a 1 here and a 3 here. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I can cross cancel those out, replace that with a 2 and a 1. Okay, so now when I multiply the numerator and denominator, what's my final answer? You got it, 2/3. Okay, so 2/3 is a simplified answer of this problem. Okay, now your turn. Make sure to write this down on some paper. So try 2/25 times 5/6. Make sure to simplify your answer. Good luck. Okay, now let's see how you did.
Times 5/6. Using the rule for multiplying two fractions, multiply the numerators 2 and 5 then multiply the denominators 25 and 6. This is a good time to look for common factors in the numerator and in the denominator. For instance, notice that 2 is a factor of both 2 and 6. Then notice that 5 is a factor of both 5 and 25. Because we want our answer to be in simplest form, it's a good idea to divide out the common factors right now. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 25 5 times. When we carry out the multiplication, we get 1 times 1, which is 1, over 5 times 3, which is 15. So our answer is 1 over 15, or 1/15. Notice that this is in simplest form. So the answer to 2/25 times 5/6 is 1/15.
All right, so hopefully you got that. Okay, now we're going to move on to a different example. So here's a word problem. Okay, you have 2/3 of a bag of flour. You use 3/4 of the flour to make empanada dough. How much of the entire bag do you use to make the dough? Okay, let's see how you did. So what you're doing is 2/3 of 3/4, or 2/3 times 3/4. You could do this with a picture model, an area model. Okay, we're going to jump to the second method here, which is just straight up multiplying. I dropped my mic here. Multiplying like so. So it's 3/4 times 2/3. You can cross cancel the 3 and the 3, leaving you with 1 and 1. And you can cross cancel out dividing a 2 here and dividing a 2 here. Leaves you with 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then you multiply and you get 1/2. All right. Next example. Maybe. There it is. Okay, we're getting slightly trickier now. So now we're going to throw in some mixed fractions. So see if you can remember how to write 2 3/4 as an improper fraction. Okay, if you said 11/4, you are correct. So just a reminder of how to do improper fractions. You have 2 whole amounts of this fraction, and this is broken into fourths. So you have 2 groups of 4/4, so that's 8/4, plus this extra 3/4. Okay, so you can also do 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 3 makes 11/4. So they're saying estimate half of about 3 is about 1.5. So our answer should be about 1.5. So first turn this into an improper fraction of 11/4, and now multiply and see what your answer is. Okay, so if you said 11/8, that's correct. And you can also simplify that to 1 3/8. Okay, we got a couple more examples. Okay, next example. Find 1 4/5 times 3 2/3. So the first thing is to turn 1 4/5 into an improper fraction. Then also turn 3 2/3 into an improper fraction. All right, and hopefully you ended up getting 9/5 and 11/3. So now, see if you can cross cancel and simplify. Okay, the 9 and the 3 have a common factor of 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Multiply what's left. 3 times 11 is 33. 5 times 1 is 5. So it's 33/5, or you could say 6 3/5. Okay. So we have a basketball court, and you're finding the area of this court, which is 21 1/3 by 13 1/2. So the first thing you want to do is know that area is length times width. So rewrite 21 1/3 as an improper fraction. And rewrite 13 1/2 as an improper fraction. Okay, so now you're multiplying these together. So see if you can successfully cross cancel and simplify. All right, the 64 and the 2 can be divided by 2. The 27 and the 3 can each be divided by 3. So you're left with 32 times 9 over 1, or 288.